Hello everyone, I'm Rob Smith in the Black Quant VTF here, T3 Live, and we're going to start off a new quarter here for SPY and everybody else. Obviously, 4th of July weekend messing things up a little bit, or should I say relaxing things up a bit. But we're going to start off the week with a shortened session, then we'll have a shortened weeks. So the likelihood of a lot of inside weeks to start off the month and the quarter is a lot higher because there's less time. So what we do have is SPY starts off like this, doing nothing for the month. And so as much as there's these little blips here and there, everybody's like, woo, doji doing nothing. So technically a shooter, so shooting star if we want to start taking out any lower lows. And what this is going to look like on a shorter term basis, remember the weekly, doing almost nothing up in here. But Friday we got our inside day. So you can see this mess in here. This is just a big mess. And so now, big outside bar arm, so not quite an outside bar arm, I think. Yeah, just barely, but now an inside day. So we're going to start that equilibrium there because we got nothing too much to go on until we can get out of something like that. If we go to QQQ, which has been a little bit more fun, the Qs got bearish engulfing week to start off. So outside week to the downside and then inside day. So certainly a little more challenging here. You can see this daily triangle here, inside day. But we'll watch that outside week as we go forward because we don't know about whether we get out of this, whether we stay out, whether we stay and go inside week, something like that. But anytime you have an outside bar, we want to be aware of where we are in that series and get out of there. But QQQ starting off as inside day as well. Apple does the outside week after the inside week, and so still tightening up. And so last month, all it did was go upsy daisy, downsy daisy, a little bit like that. So when you get that outside week here, we know that's fractal triangle, so we go to the daily here, and this is just how tight this thing is in here. So nothing really to write home about. You're going to go like lower lows and higher highs. Another inside day, so need to get out of something like this, but no major actionable signals there. Small cappers. So the small caps inside day, and remember last month, tried to get that inside month to the upside, but we're sitting up in here. You got it to a certain extent, but here, just sitting up in this consolidation here on the top of this big triangle. So the question is just going to continue to rest up into here until it's go time because it's, when we go to the weekly, you had that weekly rough drop, but then doji. So 1, 2, 3 weeks completely within this bar's range right in here. So we'd have to get out of that, and it's also starting off as an inside day. The good thing about these inside days and even a 3-hour session is that when we start everything anew, the month, the week, the quarter, all that, these inside days could trigger weeks and trigger months and give us a simultaneous break. Now, it's a matter of how many people are going to show up on Monday, but we'll see how that goes. If we go to the bonds TLT finally giving it up a little bit. Well, you can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months closing higher than it opened. But then you come in and you go like this on the weekly. Outside bearish engulf weak triangle to try and get back into this thing. So once again, it's not an inside day, but we will be very aware of how it acts outside of that. SVXY, oh boy, and a lot of fun last week. And so what that does on the monthly, it is still walking higher. It has its moments, but it has still maintained. And so, obviously, that thing, our buddy, big outside week. How are you going to get outside of that? So, what you do have is an inside day that's closer to the highs, getting taken out the highs. But you need to get outside of this big mother range. And so, right now, it's closer to taking out the highs. But we'll watch that too. All these outside bars, fractal triangles are going to be really careful because if we get outside and come back in, that's when we'll see some of these real movers. SVXY, if you go to the 60, you're going to see this. To the tick-tock ticky down there. That was nice. And that was some good stuff. Seeing something like that. All right. If we go to the Dow Jones Diamonds, and the Diamonds, also inside day. Because if they do start hitting stuff like this, maybe we get that volatility to pop back up and not just be another one-day wonder. But you got that inside day there, not an outside week. But the broader averages, like I said, have been tight, and that's why we've been sticking stock by stock. Go to GE. GE, if they say we don't care, monthly Momo shooter to try and take all this stuff out. However, on the weekly, you'll see this. It's an inside day. and potentially trying to hold the bottom of this try here, and you can see a lower level like that. So that actionable signal would be momentum shooter to the downside if they take it out with an inside day, but we'll see how it holds that. Home Depot, once again, this is why we watch the outside bar and then slightly take it out and come back in, because then we know we can go down. It was doji month, but on the daily, very well-defined triangle here. How does this get out of here? Now, does it start racing back towards the highs? And so what we do in something like this is we're going to look for actionable signals with full time frame continuity that give us the indication it's going to try and take a shot at that or try and drop down towards that. If we go to IBM, a little boring, but IBM does stay inside monther. See if there's any hope, if that's corrective here and then right back up, or downside was measured more puking. If we go to Triple M had a pretty good month there too, and that's just starting off as an inside day, so we just want to follow all the bouncing inside days as we start off the shortened week. We go to UNH. UNH goes inside week to start off the new quarter after going monthly momentum hammer up here. Now starting off as an inside week, and you can watch all the HMOs with that. Go to Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble, inside day momentum shooter. Now the question is it going to hold a triangle like this, or is it going to get through it? Because if it goes through it, once again, if you look at the monthly here, shooter counters hammer. So that kicks in below 86.93 on that. And with XLP here, red month, coming back through this stuff, also inside day here. So the question on the XLP stuff, this weekly, is it going to come through all this? Is this the middle of the triangle? This is aberration highs, come back into it, or is it going to hold higher? So when we watch a bunch of this Procter and stuff, you can look at stuff like CHD. CHD here monthly. Monthly shooter counters the outside month, which means back into the triangle if they want to hit it back into there. Clorox, shooter counters hammer, monthly, inside day starting off. Colgate. Colgate just inside day with the rest of the gang here to see if they want to continue that. The cheese ketchup, KHC, inside day, and we've been waiting for this for a long time because you'll remember on the weekly, remember this is where we talk about these big outside bars. Until you get out of there, chop shop, and get killed in here, right? They tried to take it down, couldn't take that out, then triangled these guys out here, all right? Like so. Once I see, you're going to get killed in here. But now, finally gets outside of that bar to see if there's any momentum to this. And if XLP starts crapping out, certainly we could pay attention to it. And you got an inside day to start off. If we go to the trannies RevStrat month took care of business, but now that's gone. So tranny's still hanging around the highs in this big outside month to take that out. So tranny's still hanging in there. If we get to American Airlines is hanging around down in here to go shooter, but it didn't. It rallied back up. So we still want to see how it can get through all that kind of stuff. We got nothing really new on it here. If you go to the weekly, you'll see this. It's 1, 2, 3 weeks in here trying to get out of here. It is inside week, right? Inside week for American Airlines. We'll see how that starts off. Southwest Air still hanging near the highs. And that is inside year and up. I'll get to that in the macro video. It also starts off as an outside day, inside day. If we go to United Airlines see trying to go the other way here. And United Airlines closed with the trannies on the highs, closed on the lows of the month, and then coming in as an inside day. So we'll see if there's a little more pain for United Airlines. Go to CP Rail. Inside day like most things. And CP Rail, remember this monthly, real tight stuff in here. Here, now trying to get out. Now we get momentum hammer to try and finally get out of that range. So we'll see CP Rail momentum hammer above 160, 167. If we go to CSX momentum hammer on the highs, and we know she's been sticking it to him for a while. So CSX still hanging tough. The momentum hammer monthly. Rail, we've been waiting for this one for a while. Rail finally goes inside month, and if we can finally get this measured move out of that thing, that would be nice. Because remember, on the big grander scale, this big triangle, and it's been a lot higher up into here. So if we can start using this triangle here and get this inside month to get out of here, that would be nice for rail. So we'll keep an eye on that. Union Pack. Union Pack couldn't get going either, but it goes inside month. So So see how Union Pac can deal with that. It's also inside week. Start off the month here after an outside week. If we go to FedEx did its job. Now it goes small weekly momentum hammer if it wants to keep going after last month's nice move off the inside month and up. UPS, that exhaust here as well. So UPS has got this business in here. If you go to you see the slight lower low here, now the slight higher high. So this triangle in here is going to look like this on the weekly. So doji here, just trying to see if we can get out of here. Wouldn't want to drop back in here and keep working on this thing here. All right, if we go to EXPD goes inside week, and here you can see this stuff like this. Like that, lower lows, higher highs, lower lows, higher highs. Now how do we get outside of that? And because of this dip, you can see this triangle in here. And if you go back on the daily, it's going to look like this here. This business in here, when it tried to hit it and came all the way back up, then takes out the highs, then tests the old triangle here. So the question is, going to finally, once and for all, get through that? So it does start off inside week. We'll keep an eye on EXPD with the trannies. Trucker CHRW goes inside month, so we'll see if it holds that. JB Hunt Trucker comes back up, and JB Hunt just a little bit stronger, at least right now. I'm going to start off as the inside day to see if it can do up, sideways, measured move and take a shot at all this stuff, or top of the triangle and try and drop in. Because you can see even if it starts to drop in, it'll be a multi-pattern unless it takes that out. So we'll see how that goes. Not too much in the Utes. In the Utes, trying to come back through this business in here with a late sell-off on the weekly back into this range. So I want to see if that is the triangle. There's not too much to go on right there. If we go to VNQ, REITs, once again, still stuck in this land here, so not too much. If we go to AVB, which has been the leader, one of them, it goes up into here, and you remember the weekly, you can see this, right to the top of the triangles. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to tank, but we'll be aware of it, and what it does do on the daily is go hammer counter, or shooter counters hammer, and the monthly here would be shooter if it wants to try and bring it back in if they start bringing the REITs in just a tad. If we go to XME doing all sorts of nothing in here, so really drying up are the commods, and what that was giving us here, if you go to the weekly, you can see this range in here that it's been in, and it went inside week and up, just not too major of a move. And so here's the range on the daily it's trying to get out of an inside day. If we go to gold, here's one of the problems here with gold. Gold monthly still can't get out of this range. It goes hammer, tries to go momentum hammer up, tries to do it again, then comes back and counters it. So you can see a lot of shadow on here. So still jury out on this thing, as gold would really need to take that out or that out, and otherwise it's right in the middle and doing nothing. And silver, about the same here, but it's a little worse. But you can see how you're going to get out, take that out or take that out. You're much closer to taking that out. So we'll see. If we go to GDX, look at this, really drying up in here, and that's just doing nobody any favors. So not too much going on just yet there. Our GLD does go inside month, so we can keep an eye on that if on either side of that if things start to move. If we go to Alcoa had this nice move up AA, and then this chop monthly. Now it goes monthly hammer, and so if we break that down shorter term, which you'll see, the weekly went inside week and up, but then these three are lower high. These four are actually lower highs, and so if we can get through something like that here, that would get my attention. It's also going to be on the macro list here too, but trying to break through these things first, 1, 2, 3, right into there to see if there's any shot up into that. If we go to Nucor, this daily triangle we've been watching for a while, and so how's it going to get out of this? Unfortunately, you go right back to the middle. What it does do, if they want to start tanking these things again, is 2-bar inside pattern after an outside bar. So it would be a rev strat to the downside or a 2-bar pattern, either way, taking those out. ATI, not too exciting, but we'll keep an eye on the things that are inside months just in case the commodities start going. We'll know where to go. There you go. All right, if we get the financials, FAS, and FAS and all those guys did those XLF monthly upper, but those are all gone. All right, but you can see here 1, 2, 3 inside of that, and I'm not sure if that tick was right, I remember, but if we go to KRE, here too. You can see these 3 months still stuck in here and starting off as inside day. So the financials are still back and forth pretty much. And if you go to Bank of America wants a 3 months in here and an outside month very slightly. And so what that does when you see an outside month, if you go to the daily, you're going to see this. The slight lower lows and the slight higher highs. Here's this daily triangle right in here and goes inside day. But it's going to need to get outside of that stuff and give us some actionable signals, which we don't have. JP Morgan does get out of this triangle and goes inside day up in here. Just no new actionable signals, but I'm going to see if this strength carries it throughout and takes out the highs, but we could use actionable signals. We do have inside day, like almost everything. Citicorp acting much better and going out near the highs of the month, albeit on the gapper and inside day. Wells Fargo, lower lows here, higher highs there, but no longer term actionable signal is going to be the problem on that stuff. So BK, and BK goes inside day, and that was one of the few that proud the inside month and uppers last month. But just starting off as an inside day if there's any movement, and STT was the inside month and upper last month too, and that's starting off as an inside day, but a lot of this stuff we need to get out of. Anyway, if we go to Goldman Sachs goes inside month here. So how are we going to get outside of this? Here's an outside month, now inside month here. So we'll see if this inside month, Goldman weak enough to dump all the way back into here. We're going to start coming up on this outside month fractal triangle, and so that in the daily could use some additional setups to get through this stuff here, right in there. Leg Mason, remember, was inside month to the upside for most of it, but then drops back in with the late puker to go RevStrat month below here if they want to nail these things. So we'll see how that goes. Crude Earl and friends, and Earl on the monthly comes back a little bit, and if you look at the daily, right off bottom of the try, USO. Like so. So the question is going to be strong enough to take this stuff out of. Where does this stop for a lower level triangle with no new actionable signals? If we go to XLE, yeah, you got the inside weakers to see if this puker train continues. Inside weak for XLE. XOP just misses. OIH does go inside weak to start off to see if there's any hope for the Earls this quarter. So if we go to the big boy Shover, not too much. And remember, we've been watching this tight triangle. This is the weekly. And you can see this here. Like so. So it does, if they want to keep hitting this thing, it does go momentum shooter here. If they want to keep coming through all this business in here, that daily triangle that we've been watching looks like this. Like so. Bam, 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 bam. And now right in here. How do we get out of this thing? That's what we want to know. Exxon, same deal. Bam, 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 bam. And that gave us the monthly. Shooter outside bar counters the inside bar. So it would be RevStrat to the downside if we can take that out, but we can just watch that triangle. We'll have a pretty good idea where those things are going if they can get out of there. APA, if and stays any hope. Also starting off the week inside weak. And so they're really going to move them out. You can see this just slowly lower highs, outside, inside. So fractal triangle like that to try and get out of that. APC, hammer, and on the week. And so go that monthly. You can see how badly it cratered off the inside month here. Now the question is, they've had enough, or are they going to take everything back down to the lows? So you do start off, though, weekly hammer if there's any hope. Go to CLR inside week off the lows, the recent lows I should say. Concho CXO comes back off the weekly hammer from last month. So once again, this thing went RevStrat or month, but then comes back up to someone hammer. See if this slight higher highs in here. You would need to get out of here, which is going to be a little tough, so be careful on that one. EOG comes back up for monthly hammer, and that would be above 91.98 would get my attention in full. If we go to FANG Energy, FANG, remember this, comes in and goes weekly hammer here after the slight lower low. And remember this, all this business in here, this big daily triangle we're watching forever. Bam, 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 bam. Started in here, got worse, then tightened up again. Finally broke to the downside. Now the question is this all of this? Can this all get retaken and go zooming back through here? Obviously, a few things would happen, but you start off with a weekly hammer. If we go to GPOR, yeah, GPOR's been a pig. And lower level triangle down in here. If it's going to roll back down and die, but if not, what you do have is monthly hammer. If there's any hope of not going out of beeswax. If we go to Amarada Hess, you can see this on the weekly just coming off potential bottom of the triangle, so we'll see how that plays out here. Boom, boom, right there. If we go to Noble NBL, Noble starts off as an inside week, so we'll just keep an eye on see how all these inside weeks, do they simultaneously break? Do they go same direction? Do we have some up, some down? NFX, inside day off the lows, either lower level try, where it pops up and goes puking again, or can it come off of that? But inside day, like most things here to start off. OAS, tight inside week for OAS. OIS, inside week as well, potential bottom of the triangle or triangle expansion down. PXD, I believe not quite an inside week, right? Actually, yes, it is. Inside week here to see if PXD can pull up out of that. And SN, Sanchez, inside week, inside month combo. And it's had its moments. Then one inside month, and that was all she wrote. Now you got an inside month against all these things in here to see if that can hold. If we go to Halliburton, here's that big monthly try and came right back into it. Now, like a lot of the OIHs here, you got inside week is going to try and continue and take this thing out all the way down and take that out potentially. We shall see. Which starts off as an inside week. Slobby, a little bit worse, not doing much, and tightening up here, but starts off as inside day off the recent lows. Go to Baker Hughes, and Baker Hughes, potential momentum shooter to the downside if they want to keep clobbering these things. ESV, not even fighting back. This thing's going towards the low, so I always want to have them, if they start puking, candidates for zero, and this looks like it's getting there. Inside week ESV. NOV, inside week. That's more OIH. So if that does try and come up, you'll see this. How do we get out of this stuff? Can they try and go through all that? And by that, I mean you're going to see this on the daily, still walking in a series of lower highs. But is that week going to be strong enough to propel it through that, and that? We shall see. If we go to Rowan Drilling RDC, there's another butte of trouble inside week near these lows, although, albeit, it does take out the slight lower low, but we'll see how that handles that. Riggy, still alive in an inside week, and so inside week after the slight lower lows. Higher high, lower low, higher high, lower low. If we go to EGN, another inside weaker, a little tighter triangle in here. So if show the daily, you'll see the triangle like this. Okay. If we go to EQT, you can see another violent triangle in here to keep an eye on. And EQT in the weekly causes that hammer comes up here. You can see still these series of lower highs, though. If we go to RRC, still having all sorts of trouble, but monthly hammer. So we can keep an eye on that with the natty and all that kind of stuff. Go to SWN, if there's any hope for this baby. Oh, how they love the cheapies, but she's just been having such a tough time here. Rolling lower and lower and weekly. So if you don't have any hope here, you can look at the daily. You just see this business like this in here if there's any hope, but still suffering. Okay, if we go to Sun, S-U-N, Sun gives us The inside month, potential measured move. Up, sideways measured move if they want to take care of business on that. Refiners, MPC. Problem with MPC is, look at this. Whew, boy, they really worked hard to get this thing up to taking out this outside month. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and takes it out slightly, but does go shooter here if they want to bring it in. And also is inside weak. See if it's going to keep coming up or if it wants to drop back in through some of this stuff. And HFC. HFC, weekly shooter. And remember this triangle we've been watching for a while. It's also inside month. If you can get through it. And that daily triangle took to the downside, but then reclaimed and came back in here. So either it's going to be lower highs off of this stuff and start dumping again, or if it's going to take a shot at that month, we're going to look for any measured move type of deals that would go towards that. All right, if we go to XRT retail, the old bend but don't break. Retail goes down, but then goes inside day and pops right back up and inside day to see if we can go measured move to take care of these guys. So whenever you see a range like this gets reclaimed, see if we can get back into these triangles, stuff like that, because if we go to the monthly, you might remember we had the outside month here, but now comes back and hammers. So it's going to try and hammer back against that. If retail says not dead yet, we've got the Walmart. And the Walmart goes outside month, and it's going to be tough to get outside of that. So what Walmart does do here is multi-inside week pattern. So we really got to see it take that out or set up to do something out there. Otherwise, right now it's RevStrat week down if it takes it to the downside. If we go to Costco, Costco goes inside week after the SmackDown. The question is, how bad of a SmackDown is it? It's pretty bad, and it's going to be a tall, long order before you can take that out. So if it starts moving up, inside month, we would be very aware of any change in continuity because it's consolidating until it gets out of there, and that's a problem. But you do have an inside week to gauge off of to start. Target goes inside week, and once again, once you get these big outside bars, how are you going to get outside of that stuff? Because when you go to the monthly, you got a good chance of going inside month unless you can take that thing out. So target inside week, but just be aware of all that those big ranges they need to get out of. If we go to Best Buy gives us the inside month. Here, it's still hanging around the high. So Best Buy holds here on the earnings gap, drops in a little bit, now trying to work its way back up. So we'll see how that, if we can get any more shorter term signals out of that, but it is inside month. The burritos, went monthly shooter and back into this thing. So if you go to the weekly, you'll see this, doji after this. So the question, if we're real aware of this too, if it goes down sideways and starts going measured move off of this back into the depths. If we go to Gap Stores weekly momentum shooter to try and get outside of this thing. You can see how they shooter counters hammer back down right into this thing. The thing about it is there's going to be a lot of eyeballs around here. Right around this neck of the woods. There should be a lot of eyeballs on that. So even if it goes, be careful on that. We'll see. It also tries to go hammer daily or doji off of this range. So we'll see. If we go to Nordstrom's still hanging around inside day. And remember on this weekly, it's also off of this goes inside month after outside month. This weekly, how are we going to get out of here? Now it holds up into this thing. So the question, can you use this power to try and take a shot up into this thing, or is this going to be the lower high and drop back down? But certainly interesting spot there for Nordstrom either way. If we go to Lowe's Corp, looking like the Home Depot, that outside week, and then here. And so just keep an eye on how these Home Depot Lowe's act on these daily triangles like that. If we go to Macy's, Macy's inside day and for the month, doji down in here. So the question is, they're going to keep putting this thing away, or is it going to hold something like this? Still a little quiet. We just want to have a few of these ideas ready to go in case things start to move. RL, inside month and after the outside month, and it's doing the slow drifter. Finally, because we know how beaten this thing's come from, 180 down to 66 if they're really putting these guys out of business. But now, inside month. Ross Stores took a smackdown. Would be a tough time not being inside month here as well, but it does start off as an inside week here. TJ Maxx, the same. Tractor Supply, And Tractor Supply, if they really want to put her into the grave, you got this momentum shooter monthly if they want to crush her, but inside week and the slight lower low. So to see this lower level triangle, and by lower level triangles, you'll see this on daily here. Makes the slight lower lows off of that, comes back up. Then the question is it going to be strong enough to take a shot at this stuff here? Higher high, lower low, higher high, lower low. What's next? We shall see. All right, if we go to, Urban Outfitters, one more. Urban Outfitters, if there's any hope, does go monthly hammer off the recent lows, so we'll see how that plays out. All right, if we go to the IBB and XLV, so once again, the IBB had that push. Now, is that for reals play out or not? Because you go up and go inside weak like this. Here, what is all this? How are you going to get out of this big bar in this inside week? That's what you're going to want to know for IBB in and of itself like that. Is this top of the triangle and destroy him again? Or is this really the breakout move here? So it also goes inside week, inside day to start off. XLV, also an inside week and a little bit better after going into the highs like that. And in the macro, you'll see a bunch of that stuff too, the old school druggies, and I'm going to talk about them today too. If we start off with the big bios on GILD, finally made that move. So the question is, how do we get out here? Inside day, and here's the bigger triangle, lower low, higher high, lower low, higher high. How do we get out of this business, this outside day here, to see if what is this? Do we have this power again to come ripping through here, or is it just another garden variety rally in the things and they puke? Regeneron, and that had a nice move too, and now you can see how significantly far it's backed off, and now going inside weak near the lows. Once again, after those moves, looking at the monthly, how are we going to take out that or that is what we're going to really want to know, and nowhere near it. So if we go to Celgene the same, inside weak up top. BIIB a little bit more interesting here because of this stuff like in here. Right, so this is a little bit closer to being able to take this and go in measured move, and if it does, you've got all these guys to take out to triangle back up. So I'd be watching that on BIIB. So looks like this on the daily, still this stuff. So you'd want to be taking this stuff out and start shooting at these guys. If we go to Amgen, it's tight range in here, and once again another inside weaker like most of them here to see if they come piling back in or not. ACAD just starting off as inside weak, so we'll just see how all the inside weeks play out. We got Abbott Labs going inside weak near the recent highs. ALNY. So the question here, once again, are we top of this and jump back in, or form a way to try and get through all that? Baxter, more medical related, just sitting right near the highs, and that is this on the monthly. Momentum hammer here to see if we can keep cruising on that. Bristol Myers stuck in all this business in here. What it did, go outside month. All right, so when you try and get outside of that and starting off inside weak here, a little bit tighter of a triangle than those bigger bios here, but so we'll see if we can get through this stuff. Still the lower highs off of this stuff, but inside weak Bristol Myers. Clovis holds its gap, goes inside there to see if she can really do the full round tripper on the monthly. Big old triangle, higher high, lower low, higher high, lower low, higher high. Rev strat all the way down inside month, and now trying to fight all the way back up and complete the triangle. So real interesting here would be Clovis. GlaxoSmithKline, GSK, this is another old schooler with some inside weak. ILMN, you can see this on the daily. This triangle here, keeping an eye on this. It's going to be weak enough to come all the way down and take these guys out, or try and muster something up in here. It might be a little tricky, but certainly want to know where that triangle is. Jazz Farm, there's your inside day. Once again, this tight daily stuff to see if this is just a pullback and take another shot at it, because if it does, it's inside week, and if it takes the inside week, also stayed inside month. And so you can see if you can get breaking out of that. Juno finally came out of the ashes, and that was nice. So the question is just go weekly shooter and drop back in, or is it really strong enough to go back to where all these things were? And so see the weekly shooter starting off as daily hammer after a slight higher high, then slight lower low, triangle them out, and that'd be hammer on Monday above 30.27. Kite. Kite goes hammer. Shooter counters hammer if they want to bring her in to start off the new week here. After quite the month last month, but we'll see. Like I said, you're going to play tight to the vest until we get some more information about who's breaking what. MYGN, that's another inside weaker. And another one of them monster monthlies if you can get back through this stuff and into this thing here. So inside week, inside day, MYGN. Parago, still just an out of the ashes. There's watching this monthly down in here if you can ever get anything going. It's had its moments, but on the daily you're going to see this here. It's going to need to get through all this business up in here. TSRO. TSRO goes inside week. Here, you just want to be really careful. You can see how this thing has been really chopping them up. So I wouldn't marry this thing either way, but we'll be aware of that weekly. If we go to XLK and Tech, bearish engulfing week to start off. It also did the outside monther here, so SMH not quite, and SMH once again did the like the NASDAQ stuff. Bearish engulfer 1 bar, Rev Stratter towards the low, so still might have some issues here in tech land. Starting off as an inside day, all right, and so we'll see if we can get out of here. If we go back to QQQ just for a second, so we can go to that 60. If I didn't get to that, what should we do? 60 in this business in here. Gets through here. Now tries to spike back up here, but anything down back in here, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be some of that fractal triangle expansion. So certainly aware of that. Facebook doing nothing, but it does do that outside week to the downside, so we want to be well aware of that because on the monthly it was doji doing nothing. But tech still not out of the woods is basically what I'm saying there. Amazon goes back middle of the monthly range. That's a bit of an issue because you don't have very much on it. If you go to the daily, here it did make that slight higher high. Now it's an inside day. So the question is going to triangle down and try and take some of this stuff out. Because whenever you have this big outside bar stuff, this is why we want to know about this, and you do take it out and then challenge it, oftentimes it goes all the way down and takes that stuff out. So I want to be well aware of that. Netflix, inside day, very similar, down, up, triangle them out, higher the try, and then come down into here. So the question is, only make lower lows off of that. Are going to come after all of this stuff. Netflix also on that weekly does the same deal, and that gives it also a monthly outside month. So if it gets outside of there, that's triangle expansion. We want to know about that. If we go to Google, and the Goog, same deal, like so, and on the daily, comes down into here. Now it's going to be weak enough to come ripping through all this stuff. Here it got up. Here's an outside bar there. Then that was in trouble. Bearish engulfing, then hits it. Right. So we'll be keeping an eye on stuff like that. Adobe. Big dojier month, but inside weak here after the slight higher high. So the question is going to be weak enough to try and take a shot to this stuff, or is it going to try and hold? Inside weak, Adobe starting off as inside day. And that's why I talk about the potential simultaneous break, even though we only have 3 hours. All this stuff that goes inside day and week and month, this inside day breaks to the downside. It's very close to triggering the weekly, and that's how simultaneous breaks work. So that's why we want to be aware of all this stuff, even though it's a shortened session. Autodesk. Inside day to see if it's going to come keep it filling in the gapper inside monther, but it's a long way to take that out, but you can see that gap in inside day to pay attention to right out the chute. Akamai, Crapamai, inside month, and so it did take this stuff out, so the question here is how are you going to take this out even if you do go up, all right? That would be the issue with that. And so on the weekly, you can see it gets crushed. Slowly walking up. But we'll respect it. It is inside month, and so either side of that. If we go to ANET, big monthly shooter after quite the monster run. So they had an inside day here. And the interesting thing about this, if they do want to hit them, this is where you always want to look at how many levels are there that they could take out. And there's a lot. They could if they want to hit this thing. So be aware of that. AVGO, another inside day, another techie, potentially taking out some more of that kind of stuff. Baba, inside day, but Baba, just want to be aware of this Baba. First of all, starting off in this monthly, but the weekly is 1, 2, 3 bar pattern, so it's got to get outside of that or that before you really want to go after this. Otherwise, it's going to get that inside day and chopped up. Cirrus Logic. And Cirrus, you can see this shooter up in here. And remember on the daily, there, daily looking like this. She's been triangling but good for a while. So the question is, what is this? Here, is this an aberration? And this is the old triangle in your back here. And then we get one of these babies through here, down there. Inside day down there because you had that monthly doing this. Outside fractal triangle. If you can get outside of that, it's also bearish engulfing weaker. Cyber had been going sideways forever, but at least you got yourself an inside month to start off. Just keep an eye on that. With FEYE also going inside month. Tough to see, but it is. Triple D going inside month. Let's see if the comeback is on or over here. KLAC, this is more outside month techie. There's your daily, just been walking down this business in an inside day to see how much worse this could possibly get. Like that. LRCX. And you see this right on the bottom of this old triangle. The question is, we're going to expand all this stuff, and that's what the starting of the week's going to look like. Because remember, Corvo did this. Yipper. Came through here, now trying to see if that's got anything worse in it as well. Microchip. Another old triangle trying to get back into it with the inside day. Marvell. Just watching this upper level daily triangle here like this to see if that can hold. No inside day there though. NTAP. Does go monthly hammer here, so we'll take NTAP can hold this. Question is corrective action, get rid of them, stop them out, and now go hammer and take out 1, 2, 3, 4 to the upside. NTAP above that. Hammer would be 40.59. Qualcomm. Inside month just trapped in all this business, and that's why we've been watching that weekly triangle like so here. SWKS. Another one of those outside 1 bar ref strat weakers last week to see if it gets worse. Big outside month. Another inside day. And you can remember, this is when things start to move. How dry this was. A waka, then this baby. All right, then the downside was measured move of that. The question is, going to get it worse? Or have they done what they're going to do to her and we get something like that, a bigger triangle like that to come up? Symantec comes back to here to test the old triangle support in here on the monthly, so I want to see how it handles that. Texas Instruments, another outside monther, inside dayster. Trippy Advisor, if there's any hope. Right now it would be RevStrat daily to the down and another lower high, but on the monthly, it does go hammer after an outside bar. So trip on the long side gets my attention about 40.14. Teradyne. Teradyne went month and down, weekend down last week, and now inside day to see if there is indeed a tech record. If these inside days pop up to the upside. Home Builders. Just real quick, XHB and stuff. Weekly. Hammer counter shooter, ITB, similar, but just a couple to keep an eye on there. I would see this BZH, Beezer Homes. Just going inside month or to see, remember all these guys used to be somebody. And HOV, little guy, but used to be somebody, and I just keep an eye on it as if the home builders keep going. He's like a nice little guy that's on the move. Okay, just a few more. Okay, we got AAOI coming up and trying to go. Rev Strat weaker, inside weak, gets back up into the range here. And that would trigger here above 65.01. Another problem though is a lot of this stuff's got these big monthly ranges we'd need to get out of, but we'll certainly pay attention to that if it kicks in. Archer Daniels Midland, ADM. Now, a little interesting here because it's either momentum shooter here to try and take this whole range out, or you do have this weekly hammer to get back into this range, and that's going to show you this on the daily here. Like so. 1, 2, 3. Buckle my shoes are going to be the lower level tries. Going to start coming back through all this stuff. We'll see. AWK. Big daily triangle. And you can see this inside day potential momentum shooter to the downside because of what that did do. And this is how you can see this triangle like this on the daily. That's why we look at hammer counter shooters, because that's going to show up on a longer term time frame. And here it is on the month. Shooter counters hammer month with the daily to start. That's 77.73. Eaton Corp, ETN, and we know the industrials have been the stronger sector, one of them at least, and Eaton Corp would be momentum monthly hammer. Inside week combo to start off. If there's any hope in Brazil, EWZ goes inside week and inside month. But like once again, you can see this big outside bar and get chopped up in here. But now you do go inside week, inside month, which is going to have to form until you get out of that. But now you got it, so we'll see. In the solars, JKS just goes inside month and towards the highs, and would also start off as a weekly momentum hammer if there's any solar power. McDermott, MDR, and this weekly triangle in here, you can see this. Can we get out of it? Can we use this momentum hammer to get out of here and take up into the bigger triangle up towards that? Remember, McDermott's an old, used to be somebody. We always like that. This is actually up in the 60s at one time, so we'll see how that goes. MGM, just going shooter, monthly shooter, if they want to try and bring it all the way back through, and this stuff formed by that. And like I said, take it all out. We're watching these key levels here to see if these things get taken out with that shooter. If we go to MSEX, and this has been a real obvi try here on the day. Like so, and now it can set us up Rev Strat weak to try and take a shot at the upside of this. Inside weak, countered with hammer. Triangle looks like this. Like so, to see if we can take a shot at that. OCLR just going big. Potential monthly Rev Strat back down. Inside month countered with shooter, so that gets in trouble below 902. It's also an inside day. PETS, P-E-T-S, still hanging like a champ and going inside week to see if there's any more in the tank. It also starts as an inside day. PerkinElmer, PKI, inside week near the highs, and that had a nice push on the monthly like so, and then just stalls out on the daily. That's what gives you the inside week, this thing, to see it goes up, sideways, maybe measured move. SBGI, weekly, crap them out, stop them out. Now inside week to see if there's going to measured move of this, down, sideways, triangle them out and hit it a little harder because it goes inside week and monthly momentum shooter like that to try and come all the way back through and this kind of stuff. Snap-on, SNA. Still keeping an eye on this daily triangle in here. How do we get out of this thing? So now you make the slight higher high, lower level triangle like that. Can we get out of this and start taking shots up into here? So we'd be looking for continuation patterns. We can get up into there. Tenneco, TEN, somewhat similar. And Tenneco also gives you the benefit of the monthly hammer after the outside month. Be 59.19 above that. And Tesla. Now Tesla backed off a bit. So Tesla, first of all, how are we not going to be inside month? Obviously, Tesla moves around to not do that. And on the daily, what you got here is a slight inside day and down, and then Now, another inside day to see if it once again holds upper level triangle and just keeps testing them out and get right back up. Starting off as an inside day, but nothing else on that. And so even if it goes, we'll be aware of potential, once again, shortened week, so inside week for that. So that's going to do it to start off. Remember, we got a short session, a lot of inside weeks coming, and then we want to see how these initial breaks happen off all these inside days, if there's anything significant, or do we have a divergent market where some are going up, some are going down again, and then we'll gain more information as the weeks and the days go on. All right, that's going to do it for today. I'm Rob Smith, the Black Quant GVTF here at T3 Live.